Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. We are now a couple of days post-Quantumania release, and as usual with all things on this lovely little pile of rocks and puddles that we call planet Earth, everyone has some sort of opinion on the thing and is using the interwebs to express that opinion with the utmost hyperbole and hyperactivity. We, however, are going to keep this thing cool. Not because we have superior coping skills, but solely because we have a bottle of whiskey on the line. So, let's get down to business and figure out how our predictions shake out in this episode 126, Quantumania Real or Jabroni returns. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the man who is the only person in the entire multiverse who lacks variants of any kind, solely because there isn't enough cattle to supply them with food. He has been my partner in Idiocy for over 2 decades and is a second cousin to MODOK. I give you the man they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, actually.
That's
well.
Cool.
And yourself?
I am well. I am. This week is cleanse week for me. We had a bit of a eating out fest last week. We had a lot of things to celebrate.
This is like every 7 years. It's like the year of Jubilee, except for you. It's like, all right, this is the 1 week I'm gonna back off. I'm only gonna have 2 steaks.
Oh, yeah. Yep, we celebrated Valentine's Day. We celebrated my wife's birthday twice because we went yesterday. We went downtown into Chicago for a little
it should
brunch.
Be because she has to put up with your stuff. So she should get 2 birthdays every week. Should be her birthday.
Indeed, and so it's it's been a little bit of a treat week last week. So this week I am I'm doing well. I'm drinking my fizzy water. I'm No, not eating any food after 6-7 o'clock. Really do that intermittent fasting. Make sure I'm firing on all cylinders.
You are going whole hog on this thing, and
yes.
I want to applaud you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I want to applaud you not only just for your eating habits at this moment, but because you went back to that same restaurant where you had the dinner for 2 all by yourself, and they still had it on the menu. And what? You didn't get it. Although at the time I did call you a coward. However, I rescind that a little bit. I do have a little admiration for your self-control.
But I will say our waiter friend that we know there walked up to take our entree order, and he looked at me and he said, "So the steak is still on the menu?" And I said, "Thank you, but one and done for me, sir." So
I need to get this guy's name just so I can be like, all right, I'll slip you an extra $20 if you eat that again. Just to make things interesting.
He's a great guy. Great guy. Name is Herman. So
Herman. Okay, well I'd be able to figure this out. I can track that down. That's not exactly a common name.
Oh, great! Uncle Todd's going to unleash his sleuths upon the Chicagoland area. Here we go.
Oh, not me. I suck at that. My wife, however, could be like a private investigator.
Gosh.
You give her like half of a name and somewhat of a vague location, and all of a sudden she goes into like Sherlock Holmes mode, and she knows what that person, like the elementary school they went to. It's amazing. In like a half hour. Most of the time quicker.
Impressive. Most impressive.
It is, but it's also frightening.
How was your weekend, sir?
It's very frightening. Good. I'm trying to remember what the hell went on this weekend.
Bounce any quarters off those glutes or what?
No. Today was squat day though, and I got to tell you, the weight's going up, man. I'm doing very well. Nice. Everything seems to be working out. Of course, this is the best way to make sure that tomorrow, like one of my legs falls off of my body in the middle of the gym. Mm-hmm. It'd be like the knight from Monty Python's Holy Grail. It's just a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound.
As I crawl back to the locker room, I'm just going to go in the sauna. It'll be all right. Nice. Can someone pick up my leg and just hurl it down the hallway. No, doing well. I'm trying to think what we did this weekend. Didn't do a whole lot, honestly. Like we had some plans, and then those plans just kind of fell apart, and we ended up sitting around eating Thai food on Saturday, and then that was really kind of the highlight of the weekend. Nice. Yeah, it was good. It was good though.
Very nice. Yeah,
watched some Elimination Chamber. Watched 2/3 of a Will Ferrell Zalakafenakis. I can never remember how to pronounce his Galifianakis.
Zach Galifianakis.
No, it's not that. Is that it?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Watched the campaign, which was good. We didn't get a chance to finish it though. And Elimination Chamber. I caught like a few minutes of XFL football, which was, kind of meh.
The Rock Run XFL?
Oh, this is the Rock Run. I'm pretty sure he made it to every single game. I think he was there for kickoff of each game.
Wow.
Highly, highly invested in this.
I do have to tell the listeners, it was highly amusing. Like I basically had to just keep my phone in my pocket and not look at it. But we were out to dinner with some friends on Saturday. Again, why I'm doing a cleanse this week. And we were, literally, I think I ate out like every day last week. So we're sitting there and had a lovely time. Lovely meal, all of that. And I pulled my phone out just to look, and there's a text. I look at it, it's from Uncle Todd, and it's like, the crowd is hot. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to be texting me about this event all night, and we're out.
No, I didn't, because I made it through about the first maybe 45, 50 minutes, and then the wife was looking at me like, are you really going to watch this? I was like, I don't know. Okay, fine. What do you want to watch? So that was why we watched 2/3 of the campaign. Then everyone else is kind of getting ready for bed. And I'm like, I wonder if Elimination Chamber's on. And I caught the main event. I was like, oh, sweet.
So you didn't see the whole event then?
I did. I went back the next day and I caught the middle section that I missed.
Okay. Yeah. I watched it last night as I was doing bills and getting ready to clean up my MacBook for shipment back to Apple because I'm getting a new computer, baby.
Look at you. Look at you, sir. Good for you.
M2 Mac Mini. I'm going to be flying high.
You're going to have more power than you know what to do with. All right. Well, we ought to get into...
we should. We're instead of boring people with our exciting lives.
This is what we do every week. I'm pretty sure they're used to it. Yeah. But we do a little thing called the Week in Geek, which is not really going to be necessarily the normal Week in Geek because, well, quite honestly, we slapped this episode together in the last 5 minutes. So I shouldn't say that. The man they call Tim was busy calculating and working his abacus and slide rule to figure out the results of our real or jabroni. So we kind of skimmed on the Week in Geek, but we are going to talk about something. And what is that something for the Week in Geek, sir?
The Week in Geek.
Feels so funky.
This Week in Geek for this episode is wrestling themed, ladies and gentlemen. So
brought to you by the letters W, W, and E.
Yes. Not last night. 2 nights ago was Elimination Chamber, and as we discussed, Uncle Todd whet my appetite to actually. I wasn't planning to watch this event, but when he texted me a few observations and reactions, I'm like, oh, I got to check this out. So I watched it last night. So yeah, just typically when we're doing big pay-per-views, we'll build an episode around that and do match ratings and all that. We're not going to do that tonight. It's just really more just reactions and thoughts on the evening because it was a unique event in that being in Montreal, the fans were freaking fired up and big time because they were behind the hometown boy Sami Zayn, who is just, this guy is on a creative and just storytelling hot streak right now, the likes of which I don't think we've seen in a long time. And so just the crowd was just incredible, and they were almost a character unto themselves in some ways. So
which started the night before, because I caught the very end of SmackDown, which airs Friday nights, and usually I thought that was a pre-tape show, but are they doing SmackDown live now?
They might be, yeah.
Okay, this one definitely was, because it was in maybe it's just the one before the pay-per-view, because they were doing this one in Montreal. So the SmackDown was in Montreal, and then Elimination Chamber was the next night in Montreal. Yep. And the main event of SmackDown was essentially a Sami Zayn promo, which totally makes sense. Sami Zayn's hometown, and this being just kind of the gift that keeps on giving with him and the bloodlines and Roman Reigns and all this. Dude came out, his music hit, and the crowd went nuts, like a Hogan-esque, Stone Cold Steve Austin-esque, Rock-esque pop.
Nice.
Insane. Nice. And then they continue to cheer. I'm not kidding you. 5 to 8 minutes after he got to the ring.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes. Solid.
And I wonder, they must have known, like, relatively, okay, you're going to get a huge pop when you go out there. And I'm wondering how much of that was like, just let it go. Just ride it as long as you can. Because they just kept going. They were chanting and singing and cheering. It was forever, it felt like, until he actually said anything. And then the same thing happened when he came out for the main event last night. But then again, that crowd was in it right from the start.
Yeah.
Insane. I can't remember another crowd that has been that hyped for a pay-per-view in quite a long time.
Yeah, definitely. So that made the event, just unique in the sense. And I didn't watch, all of the press conference afterwards, but I caught a few minutes, on YouTube of like Triple H, of Sami. And I think that was about it. And Triple H was interesting because, he's thanking the press for being there and stuff. And right out of the gate, he's just like, this event felt like a WrestleMania in a way, and it was just very different in that sense. And so it was really cool to, see an event, that isn't really one of the big, historically big, tentpole pay-per-views for WWE, have the sort of event that they had Saturday night, because it was a really solid card. And
they only had what, maybe 3 weeks to build this thing, because we just got through with Royal Rumble.
Yeah, we're barely. I don't think we're 4 weeks since Royal Rumble. So
no, it was a short build.
Yeah,
and they managed to put this thing together pretty damn well. Like a solid card. For that amount of time.
Yeah,
it doesn't hurt that you already have some good storylines in progress, which hey, that's just good creative. But then to be able to progress those to a certain point and to keep the ones that you need to simmer, continuing to simmer and maybe paying off a little bit of something, but not everything. And really a good balance of storytelling and also in-ring action. A lot of good work in this show.
Yeah, and Triple H said that in the pay-per-view, like he was just like, the talent was just, everyone brought their A game tonight. Like they really did. It was there was very few nits to pick, and when you pick them, it wasn't like major stuff. It was all around really good. The women's Elimination Chamber, which was for a shot at, I think, Bianca Belair's championship.
Yes.
Was good. I agree with Uncle Todd, and I spoke in a pre-production meeting. I agree with his assessment that storyline wise, it probably was a little weaker than the men's, because there was a lot of history in the men's Elimination Chamber, and I really liked how the announcers brought that stuff out. The relationship of Austin Theory with Johnny Gargano, the relationship of Gargano and Seth Rollins. And just all around the way they
Bronson Reed too was worked in there, like
Bronson Reed, yep.
And what's his face there, Damian Priest, like they managed to tie it all in back to NXT and all this stuff, and I was like,
oh yeah,
that's really impressive, and it speaks very well for how WWE has done some things right in building talent and progressing that talent forward.
Yep.
And all that hasn't been in the last however long Triple H has been in charge of talent. So they have been heading this direction for a while, which is helpful,
Not to go down this rabbit hole again, as we've gone down many times, but interesting to note how, with Triple H, his intent for NXT was always to build, a minor league system for the company so that they had a pipeline of talent coming in. And it's interesting how now that he's in charge of creative and has, the creative sensibilities of, I think, what a lot of fans want to see, as well as just having kind of that old school, wrestling mentality about things. It's incredible to see how a lot of these talent, who some of whom were let go, and now had just Bronson Reed being one of them, and now get brought back, and now they're being and shockingly they're resonating. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it was really interesting for me to see that folks who came up in his system thrived there, and now are in a system that he controls at the main event level, shockingly are doing well. It's like, who would have thunk it,
Yeah, but it also comes down to like your style, your overall methodology and style. Like, you can't take let's just take it from wrestling into movies. You can't take like a Vin Diesel and expect him to play the same character that you would give to a completely different kind of actor.
Right.
Like, some of those actors are able to make that leap, and they can do those different things. But if you keep on giving, an actor the same old role, or you try and put them in something that they're just not capable of course it's not going to work.
Right.
Or of course it's going to get boring. And by utilizing the talent the way that he has, and also your methodology of like, hey, guess what? Not every match people want to see punch, kick. Like, people actually do want to see wrestling. Like, the show there is wrestling, there's got to be some of that.
Yeah.
And I think they've found this balance of finding good workers and being able to do that, but also have your, you have your brawls and stuff like that. And it just feels like it's a very diverse show in terms of styles, in terms of personalities, and like it gets back to the 3-ring circus method of like, okay, if you don't like the elephants, well, the clowns are coming. And if you don't like the clowns, well, you know what? Here's the lion tamer. There's kind of these different things that can kind of keep you interested.
But I do think it comes back, and I don't want to turn it into a slamming Vince thing, because we've done that.
Oh no, please, please. I'm open to that.
But that's what it comes down to. Like to your point, like Bronson Reed, I don't even remember if he made it up to the main event level, but like all talent that come out of NXT, Vince tries to force him into some other role or thing or whatever that he creates because of God knows why, and they fail. And last
usually
night,
it's lame.
Right. And 2 nights ago, not last, I watched it last night, but 2 nights ago, they made Reed look like a monster. The fact that they had three finishers, I think, in a row.
That was awesome. That was great.
And then Montez Ford, who gets the award for most spastic pinfall. I mean, the guy was so just unbelievably animated when he would go to pin a guy. It was really funny.
It's like all of a sudden, out of it. Every Red Bull this guy has ever had kicks in at once.
Yes.
I'm like, it's halfway between a pin and a seizure. Like, are we sure he's okay? But yeah, I mean, no one puts more into a pinfall than Montez Ford, who also gets the award for like the moment where I was like, I think I know where this is going, but I really don't see how he's going to do it. And then seeing him do it, I'm like, dear God.
Yeah.
Like, that was, I think him and then the Gargano Hurricane Rana off of the pod were the two where I was like, I am genuinely terrified for these individuals and their safety, because there is such a possibility for something to go horribly wrong. And in the Gargano incident, I think that it kind of did. Like, I think Damian Priest was really supposed to catch him, because if you notice, like, everyone else is over here so they could catch Rollins, so that he had a place he was hitting them, but of course they're also trying to make sure like he has a soft landing. It seemed like Priest was the one over by the pod who was supposed to be like the person that Gargano landed on, like a human crash pad, and didn't quite get there.
No
and so Gargano laying there, I'm sort of like, that might be 100% real.
I couldn't tell. Like, they showed the replay 3 times. I still couldn't tell what the heck exactly happened. Like, the camera was in such a bad angle position for when he fell.
Well, I mean, kind of good, because they don't want to show that.
One that I finally saw Damian Priest was there.
Yeah, he was trying to get under there, but I think he was not in the right position. And dude, give some credit to Gargano. He had a couple chances there right afterwards with Priest where there could have been a receipt, and there wasn't. Very professional, even though it's like, dude, I almost died. Like, you're supposed to catch me.
Although I did like that moment when Gargano and Rollins are just sitting on top of the pod, like, "Hey, how's it going? How you doing?"
and then Rollins just smacks him. That was great.
Slaps him in the chest.
I love how they actually use the pods, especially like in the women's Elimination Chamber. So if you don't know what we're talking about, Elimination Chamber, I'll run this down for the non-wrestling fans. You can look it up. You can use the Googles. But it's interesting because you have this structure around the ring that actually extends. It's a cage, but it extends out from the ring. So there's a flat platform all the way around the ring. Then there's these 4 pods at each corner. And so you have 6 people total, 2 wrestling, and then they start adding more people in. And you can't get out. I mean, there is a hole at the top, but I don't think anybody is dumb enough to try and climb out of that thing. At least, I thought Montez might be last night. That's what I was thinking. Like there was a little foreshadowing, like, oh, geez, please don't.
And the chamber has evolved significantly since the first one, because watching last night, I know they were trying to show some of the nastiness with people getting their faces grinded up against it. That is some sort of rubber material they use now for those chains and stuff. That was not how the original Elimination Chamber. That was a full-on metal beast. And the 4 platforms outside of the ring were steel grating. So when those guys were dumped, they were dumped on actual like just metal grating. It was very hard to watch in the early days.
I'm sure that is a metal platform, but there is some sort of padding or something on top of that. Like it's granted it's thin, but it's enough that it's not like you're just landing on steel diamond plate or anything.
Right.
But I liked how they incorporated the pods, so that the pods are like these plexiglass things. And at one point, in the women's Elimination Chamber match, you had Carmella going back into the pod, and then who was it that ended up like getting thrown through one of the plexiglass panels?
Oh, was that Raquel Rodriguez who like speared someone through it?
Yeah, that was
cool.
Something
like that.
But then in the men's Elimination Chamber, it was the absolute best, because you had Austin Theory going back into the pod and keeping Johnny Gargano out, and he's talking to him, and there's 2 doors. There's a door on either side of the pod. And so he's looking at Gargano on one side, and he's yapping at him because he's got the door shut, and Seth Rollins is on the other side and opens up the door and is just sort of standing there like looking at him. It was essentially like a Bugs Bunny cartoon for about 30 seconds, and then he starts pummeling them, and then they get it. Gargano opens the other one. They're pummeling Austin Theory, and then they both look at each other and they close the doors, and then they keep on pummeling him. I'm like, yeah, this is beautiful. Like this is just a wonderful, just little moment here, Of course, the Montreal crowd was eating it up. Oh my gosh!
Oh
The number of this is awesome. The holy bleep chants. Oh my gosh. The FU blank,
whoever. Right.
We're legion. I was like, oh my gosh. Can we hold every pay-per-view in Montreal from now on? Like this is amazing. Like these fans are so up for this show.
Absolutely. One thing I was a little disappointed by was, and I don't know if this is just how it is moving forward, but with Asuka, I've been reading about, with her face paint and just kind of the change and a little bit in her character and her music and stuff. Like this whole like persona she brought back after her time in Japan was meant to be this character she was, which I guess translated from Japanese is called the Murder Clown, basically. Which I think is a great name. And I'm like, why aren't they using this name? Because this would be such a great, the Murder Clown Asuka, or whatever. Well, but I don't know. I like her. I like how they're building her. And she won the female Elimination Chamber. But yeah, I just, I don't know. Murder Clown is just kind of a funny, interesting phrase to me.
Yeah, it would. I mean, trust me, believe me, I would be totally up for any wrestler called Murder Clown. As a matter of fact, I think that's what Otis's new gimmick ought to be, because right now he's being totally wasted. But anyways, the match that kind of impressed me the most, not from a technical ability, but just in the way that it ended and kind of continued a story, was the Lesnar-Lashley match. Like actually having a DQ.
Yeah.
That made sense, and like to me, it's like, okay, where are you going to go from here? Like it made me a little more curious about how you have these 2 hosses continue to kind of have this feud where, I mean, Lesnar's not around all the time.
Yeah.
But I just kind of like the fact, like, it felt like a little bit of a fresh air. Like, we are actually going to call a DQ.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's for a good reason. And you can explain it afterwards that, like, it shows a little bit of a crack in Lesnar, that he was that worried that that was the only way he's going to escape.
Yeah.
You know, he's that concerned about tapping out or passing out that he was willing to do that.
I am a little confused though about what they're doing with Lashley though, because I really don't like the thing that left a bad taste in my mouth, and honestly, if we were doing ratings, this would probably be the lowest rated match for me. Is I'm Lesnar is a monster. No one disputes that. But as we all know, no matter how crazy good the hero is, he's only as good as the villain he goes up against. And it's like, why on earth is he being allowed to just look so dominant over Lashley? Lashley is dominant himself. And I feel like he's kind of getting booked into this really bad situation where he just comes off looking weak and not, you know, to some, I mean, yes, I know he had him in his finisher. I know he got, you know, basically Lesnar had to cheat to end the match or whatever, but it's like, let these guys just like throw at each other and let there be a back and forth and not a Lesnar wins all the time sort of thing. Cause it's like enough, you know, it's like, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of an even keel to the whole thing. And I just felt like, even though Lashley put him in the hurt lock, I felt like it was just, you know, it was like 5 minutes of offense for him compared to, like, you know, 15 for Lesnar, even though I know the match didn't go that long, but that's just what it felt like to me when I watched it. It felt like it was like a Lesnar, you know, squash, and he happened to get, you know, a move in on him sort of thing.
Well, I think it was a way that they're trying to build Lashley up to the Lesnar level. Cause I mean, we've been conditioned, I say it's not like I've been watching WWE for the past 15 years religiously or anything, but I mean, you just know Lesnar, like he comes in, he does his thing, and he takes out everybody. Like, that's just the way it works. Lesnar is going to get the better of people. You know, he is a better version of Goldberg. Like, Goldberg is not going to take that many losses, you know? I think what they're trying to do through this is they're trying to build Lashley up enough that the final blow off of this means something, you know, like by kind of delaying the gratification in terms of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think that they're trying to get Lashley a little bit more believable as an opponent, because, and part of that problem is that the Lashley, I dig his character, man. I dig the fact that, you know, it's the Almighty, and, you know, he good Lord, he looks like his muscles have muscles. Like, it looks like he could bench press with his eyelids. He is just that inhumanly, like, he's a He-Man action figure sprung to life, you know?
Yeah.
But he's also stiff. He is not like the greatest worker. He is not fluid. Brock Lesnar can be kind of fluid. I mean, granted, he's not as young as he used to be, but he can move. Yeah. So I think that he actually did a great job of, you know, Lashley didn't get in that much offense, but Brock did a great job of selling it so that it looks like $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, all those spears he sold like he had just taken like a shotgun to the friggin' stomach.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I think that might be where they're heading with it, because you're trying to show, and you're trying to bring out like this frustration in Brock, like that he can't quite get this guy over, even though he's talking a big game.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking, because you really have to fight against the fact that everybody is just like, well, of course Lesnar is going to beat him, because that's just how he's always been booked.
And what I don't understand with Lashley, and I everything I read, and I think the way they're kind of progressing his character, they're moving toward putting the Hurt Business back together. They got to do it soon, because it also wasn't a great look. You know, Lashley comes down, he's slapping hands with the fans and stuff, and then Lesnar comes down, he has a bigger pop. Every time Lashley does something, the fans are booing him. I'm like, can we just get to the point where this guy's a heel and let get his gang out here to beat the crap out of Lesnar to kind of, push the story forward. I mean, like what like that's what I don't get. It's like it feels like it's like half measures and they're only going halfway with some of this stuff. It's like go full out, like get the stinking Hurt Business together, get them in there. Lashley's about to win or lose or whatever, and just get the Hurt Business in there and lay on the 4 Horsemen beatdown on Lesnar. And like
I think that's where they're heading for WrestleMania. I think they just didn't feel they had enough time to do that beforehand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I get what you're saying, because I couldn't quite figure out who was supposed to be the face and who was the heel in this, because people were reacting to both of them, and I'm like, okay, who's the bad guy?
Right.
And that's one of those things where honestly, you can't use the excuse of, oh well, you didn't watch the TV leading up to it. Well, no, the crowd ought to tell me.
Exactly.
If you're doing your job right, the crowd will tell me. Who's the bad guy?
Yep.
And it really was really tough to tell. So yeah, I would agree on that. I would definitely agree on that. Mixed tag was good. It felt a little off, but I mean, like we were talking about pre-production, the execution took a backseat to the story, and the story was really good. It was a little patchy. I give that to the fact that, I mean, Beth Phoenix, part-time worker, Edge, not a spring chicken.
No.
And quite honestly, Rhea Ripley, I think that she's probably still a bit on the mend from Royal Rumble and trying to make sure that, she's going to be able to be ready for this run to WrestleMania. So I'm sure there was enough rust and just general, people who don't work all the time.
The look on her face, though, when Ripley got like spiked DDT'd and everything else, man, does she sell that great or what?
Oh, Rhea Ripley looks like she's like dead when she takes some of those moves. I was like, oh my gosh, she is like one of the top wrestlers in the company. Not like not one of the top female wrestlers, one of the top workers in the company.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like $1 million, whatever she's doing. And she has the attitude to go along with it. Like I remember, I think we even talked a little bit about it with the Royal Rumble, like in her press conference afterwards. She just has that thing.
Yeah.
That attitude that makes you, even though she's supposed to be a heel, you're just like, I can't help but like her, because she has that attitude. Like literally as she's answering questions in the press scrum, I'm like, she has that look like, good God, isn't this fun?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I get to do this. Like, this is awesome. And it's so great to see someone who is enjoying what they're doing. Right. Like there's just so much joy from that. And she's fantastic. Finn Balor's got to stop with it, whatever this mask, crud is that he's doing. Like, just enough. It's been lame. It's continuing to be lame. It's not getting any better. Drop it. You look like you look. The mask is just stupid.
I just like the fact, like when he like ripped Edge off the apron, and then
that was one of the best.
And he stands there and he has that look on his face with his tongue out. I'm like, that is great. That is great heel work right there.
Oh yeah, I love the fact that he like crawled under the ring. That was
all the way from
beautiful.
one side to the other.
And you know what? Not everybody can start doing that now, but that is like every once in a while, someone finding a new and interesting way to cheat is great. Like somewhere, Eddie Guerrero was just like, yes,
chef's kiss.
Oh, I love it. Mwah.
And little Easter egg to that match, the finisher that Beth and Edge pulled off, the I forget, not Shattered Dreams, they called it the Shatter Machine, I think.
Yeah.
Edge and Beth Phoenix in real life are good friends with the tag team FTR, who are in AEW.
Yes.
Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, and that is their finisher. So I read today that was actually a little nod to them in the match that they baked in there. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's cool that they actually use the proper name for it too.
Yeah.
Little crossover there. It's kind of nice.
FTR such an underappreciated team. I mean, they've had a pretty good run in AEW. They could be doing much better if there were, certain politics in place with,
if AEW EVPs. Wasn't AEW.
Well, no, certain EVPs who want to hold all the gold, what I mean?
As CM Punk said, the children.
Yeah. They couldn't manage their way out of a Target. So,
oh my gosh. And then of course the main event. I mean,
the coup de grace.
It was so good.
Holy moly.
It was one of those deals where, because of the crowd, I honestly, I didn't even mind the 18-minute Roman Reigns entrance. I liked how they brought him out first, and that the commentators actually said like, oh, and it's a champion's prerogative to come out first. And because the other thing too is
detail.
Like that little detail was just so nice, because if you've watched wrestling before, the champ usually comes out second.
Yep.
And or last in any kind of sort of format. And for the fact they explained that, I was like, that is like so not a Vince thing. Vince would, oh, of course we don't have to. I want you to be, playing this up and playing this. And instead, it's like, hey, here's why this.
Vince would be finding a way to embarrass Sammy in Montreal, because that's what Vince likes to do, because that's what humors him. He likes to, do stupid stuff like that.
It would have ended with a sharpshooter and something.
Thank God he's not around.
But bringing Sammy out second, and then of course taking in the crowd and everything. Man, just not a fantastic technical match.
Yep.
But told the story so well and utilized emotion so well.
So here's what really stood out to me in this match, and it's nothing new from past matches that Reigns has been in. But for some reason, in this match, and I think it was enhanced by the fact that Sammy's family was there, his wife was there, things like that. The level of trash talking that he does during the match. And I think back to probably 6-7 years ago when Brock, in the middle of one of his title matches, just rattled off the Suplex City phrase, which became a huge thing for him. I feel like Heyman now has, like, as much as Heyman likes working with Lesnar, I wonder if like Reigns, kind of similar to that promo he did with Cody last week, where like Reigns is the champion Heyman always wanted to work with, because
I think it's also
is just walking around. Like, I just love the swagger. I love the way he's looking at Zayn's wife. He's like, this is what I was trying to do for this man. Like he's telling a story in the middle of the match.
But it's a next natural progression after Heyman's work with CM Punk. Because like he said, he with Brock, it was the same thing. Like Brock didn't have to say anything. He just beat the hell out of people, and Heyman did all the talking.
Right.
CM Punk did all the talking, and Paul just had to stand there with
Lesnar started to every now and then.
Well, but I mean,
just takes it to the next level. It's crazy.
But now it's like CM Punk, but now it's almost like there's a cult leader aspect to it. Like it's almost like, but he's so deep into it, and so then when he comes out and he does these promos, and it's just him, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was great in the way that he was talking to his wife and everything. It was fantastic.
And it wasn't like the usual cheap heel garbage that we would see in the Vince era either. It wasn't him being like stupid, disrespectful and stuff. Like, it was actually like playing off of, and I love how his wife was going back at him too. It's like, you loved you. It was fan. I mean, like, this is storytelling. This is good stuff.
And the thing was, and I said this to you before, like when one of the many texts that I sent you there when I was watching that, like they got me. I know how this whole. I know that there's storytelling. I know that this and it's predetermined, and I know all these things, and I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of like how the whole, as much of a grasp as you can have without being in the business. Like, I feel like I have a decent grasp, surface level, of how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
They got me.
Yeah.
Damn it, they got me again. Like, they got me at the Royal Rumble, and they got me again. And I'm like, #Team Sammy. I'm in. I'm fracking in. And in the same, they managed to pull it off 2 pay-per-views in a row.
Yeah.
I legit thought KO might win. Like, they had me believing there's a chance here. Like, this might actually happen. You start rationalizing it in your mind of all the ways that they could play this, even though you're like, they've got to keep the title on Reigns to WrestleMania. You kind of know, like, that's the goal. Like, they're not going to screw this up. Like, you're not going to blow off his, now 800-day reign in like Elimination Chamber.
Right.
Not one of the big 4. You're saving this bad boy for WrestleMania if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
But yet, again, they had me thinking the other night, like, son of a bitch, maybe they are going to drop the title to Sammy. Like, holy crap, what would they do? And I like, just the way that the match was going, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think this might happen.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure, like, okay, how are they going to work things now? Like, I'm like fantasy booking in my head. It's amazing the way they've done this. And of course it has a lot to do with the fact that Sami is Sami, and he is, you know, he's that guy who, oh my gosh, it looks like he hasn't ever lifted a weight in his life. I mean, I know that he works out, because you can't not and be in shape to do this, but I mean, good Lord, I see him and I'm like, I don't think I take my shirt off if I were you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
Have you considered, you know, some curls? I don't know, a little shoulder work, something, you know, like some lat pull downs. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I know a trainer. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, and you know, Reigns with his promo work and his smack talk and just his swagger and all that. Oh my gosh, it's just so good.
Well,
good.
And the action, the way they went back and forth, and the way that, you know, I mean, every time Sami, when he would hit that haluva kick, when he would, you know, dodge one of, you know, the Superman punch. I mean, I love the fact Sami pulled a Superman punch on him. That was just awesome. Phenomenal. Love the, you know, just the near falls were just so perfectly done. I mean,
did you see the one where he had Reigns down, and Reigns, of course, kicked out at like 2.5.
Yes.
And Heyman was reaching through the ropes, holding up the 2 with his head down, just like almost like exhausted. Like, I can't take much more.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, he adds so much to these matches, really, just with the little things, the little bits of business off to the sides. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but, and you know, the ref bumps that they did, I didn't mind them because it told the story. Sami had him beat. Yeah. And there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he just got lucky, you know, like he talked about in his promo with Cody. It's just, there's always something that seems to happen in Reigns' favor. And so no, I thought it was great, just great action back and forth. I think they both come off, you know, Sami looks strong. Reigns, you know, just looks dominant. I got to tip my cap to, like, when Reigns' music first came out, I was like, what the heck is this? Because it sounds like it belongs in a video game from the 1980s. And I didn't like it at first. But when you have him come out with those belts, and we talked about this at the Rumble, when he comes out with the belts and with Heyman and, you know, with the whole bloodline, it's just, it really gives it a big fight feel for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on it, but yeah, so no, just phenomenal. And then, you know, of course, after the match, you know, they're in Montreal, KO. So you got to have him come out.
Well, and
just lay waste to everyone, including the Wise Man.
Yeah. The Wise Man took a stunner to the other night. I mean, not the best. I love how each performer kind of sells the stunner a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Like, of course, The Rock was the gold standard. He sold the stunner like he had just gotten like a nuclear bomb dropped under his chin and would just like flop around like a flounder that has been brought onto a boat. But the way, and now we've seen Reigns take it a couple times, like the way he takes it is like flat-footed. And then it's not like a pop-up. It's just like flat-footed, boom, and then straight back onto his back.
Yeah.
Like just a straight boom, clean. Yeah. And I'm like, it's so interesting, like how each person sells it just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And I kind of like Reigns the way he does it, because it's almost like that's the most realistic thing. Like you wouldn't like shoot up in the air.
Yeah.
You're just gonna like you're gonna hit your jaw and you're just gonna go, ugh. Just fall like a sack of crap. That's how it's gonna work.
The Rock has the all-time greatest sell of that move because
he didn't you do like 3 flops and out of the ring or something one time?
He hits the knees, bounces up, goes backwards, flips over. I mean, it's such a, it's over the top, but he makes it just look good, you know?
Well, it's like the Rock doing an imitation of Shawn Michaels, doing an imitation of Ric Flair.
Yeah. Yep.
It's insanity. Exactly. It's insanity.
Exactly. Yep.
But I mean, you got to love it. That's effort right there. And you know that half the time he's just trying to crack up Steve. You know, he's just trying to crack up Austin.
Yes.
You know, make him break character.
Yep.
Damn, son, why'd you have to fly out of the ring like that? Damn near grin myself.
I'm putting my hands up like Austin. I don't mind that you do it. Damn, kid.
Oh, and there's the can pop.
There's the Steve Weiser.
He's gonna be pouring 2 LaCroix into his mouth right now. As
of course,
he's talking.
In Montreal they call them LaCroix. So, anyways, but
yeah,
overall,
great event, solid event. Yeah,
great event, top to bottom. So yeah. strong recommendation, I think, from both of us on this one.
Oh yeah, if you've got the Peacock,
On
go
the
back
Peacock.
and catch it. It's great. Unlike unlike Monday Night Raw, which I'm missing right now because I don't have a DVR because I may or may not have someone else's Spectrum password. But so I won't be able to watch it.
Eastbound down.
Yeah, I'm bootlegging cable.
But like we did in the 80s.
Exactly, except I didn't have to go to the bad side of town and almost get knifed to get one of them special boxes. But yeah, so you can watch the pay-per-view there. That is one of those things that annoys me though with the entire network thing and all that is like I know why they do it, but it's like it really sucks that it's like a month lag.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't it be like a week? Is that really a big deal? Like a week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
well,
great
on
event,
that
though.
note of Uncle Todd's travails with bootlegging cable, that, my friends, is the Week in Geek.
Well, I thank you for researching, but you didn't do squat on this one except sit your butt down and watch some wrestling. So, thank you to me.
Absolutely. I'm not going to argue that point right there. It was a wonderful evening last night watching and, taking in a quality event.
All right. Well, we are now going to get to our Quantumania thoughts, and then we will get to the returns on our real or jabroni predictions.
Yes.
As luck would have it, as fate would have it, we both watched this movie Saturday, 11:20 a.m. showings, just a time zone apart. So we were literally going to like the same time show. Just we were an hour apart in time zones.
Yep.
Which is just very weird and kind of disturbing, quite honestly. We're going to start dressing alike very soon. I'm not sure who that's the worst for. I don't know.
Dear.
I don't have that many golf shirts like you have.
Well, you should.
I do. I probably do need to start dressing more like an adult one of these days.
I'll send you another Adama t-shirt.
I'm not going to start wearing the New Balance sneakers though. I draw the line there. I'm not wearing the dad shoes. That's it. I'm not going there. But what did you think of the Quantumania, sir? What were your thoughts?
Well, it was.
Oh,
I liked it.
That's a great start.
No. I was just trying to think where to start because there's just a lot that goes on in it. It was. I liked how it was very different from the other Ant-Man movies, where there was always that kind of, comedic piece to it. I mean, there's comedy in it, but it just felt like more of a action kind of adventure sort of thing for Ant-Man. It was just in a very different kind of setting. There was a little bit about the thievery thing, but it wasn't like a super big, point that was being made. It was just more about him being at this point in his life with who he is and, the whole discussion with his daughter about, it's a typical thing, youth and kind of being in the middle of your life. It's like, the activist versus the person who's just trying to, kind of enjoy the laurels of being finally on the right side of things, and so I thought those were, were interesting points they kind of hit on. I thought they did a great job with Kang. I thought Kang was ever the menacing villain that I was hoping he was going to be. Little surprised by where the story went. I thought it was, well, as we'll talk about in the returns, I thought it was going to go in a certain direction to kind of build him up, but it does kind of point to how different they're going to be dealing with Kang than they did with Thanos. And it makes sense in a way to me because Thanos was an individual terror of a certain kind. And now Kang, and we talked about this in prior Week in Geeks and episodes not too long ago about, I was wondering if it was going to be a thing where the variants of Kang are going to kind of coordinate, and it seems like they're heading in that direction. So, I liked it. It's showing a different look and a different feel for this big bad who is going to be a threat, but not in the same way that Thanos was. And so it kind of tempered my disappointment in how Kang was treated at least toward the end. But I thought they did a nice job kind of building the story and, kind of establishing, Janet's history, in the quantum realm and her interaction with Kang and that sort of thing. I was a little disappointed, and we can get into this a little more, a little bit more once you give your thoughts, but was a little disappointed in some ways in the way they kind of dealt with the quantum realm, because if you go back to the first Ant-Man, I thought there was a lot of danger and a lot of unknowns with it, and it just feels like it was just treated as just another place, like you're walking around with no helmets on there, it's no big deal. It just seems like there's no consequences, but of course maybe that's just the space magic you just get, and you have to just play with it and work with it. So yeah. So it just seemed in some ways they kind of contradicted some things from the first movie, but they dove deeply into an area that we really haven't spent a lot of time in. So anyway, so it was just kind of that was a little nit on my side, but overall I liked it. I thought it was really good. Just not sure where they go with Ant-Man now. That's why I thought Scott Lang would be killed is to establish Kang as a massive threat and to take out an Avenger, but yeah, so we'll have to see in Phase 5 what is next for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
How about you, sir?
For the first half of this movie, I was in, man. I was like, oh, cool. I'm digging this. Like, this is a nice, tight, action movie that feels like it's kind of moving. Like, I feel like we're going point to point to point here, and we're getting stuff going and all this. Second half of the movie was not great.
Really? All right.
No. I felt like the character who I don't even know, because I didn't care to look her up, because quite honestly, I there really wasn't a whole lot at play, but the main quantum character, besides the goopy thing, and then the big flashlight guy, didn't really know that much about her. Didn't really find that much out. Her character was just sort of there, and okay, yeah, it would have been nice to have at least had a little bit more buy-in on her, which takes a little bit out of that whole struggle when you don't really feel like the characters are just like, oh well, yeah, we're oppressed, and we're very generically oppressed, and we don't really even explain like what Kang's fortress is built on the bones of our our people. Well, but we don't really go into any of that. So it kind of lacks stakes from that point, which I thought kind of sucked. I will give it this. At least it was a nice 2-hour action flick, as opposed to, and I'm going to go back and harp on the Batman again, which is a 3-hour detective movie that was about an hour too long. So I do appreciate the fact that we actually have a humanely timed out movie, because I feel like there's far too many movies now that are getting into the 3-hour, like 2.5, 3-hour time period when you don't need to.
Yeah.
No, another couple passes on this script and a little bit of editing and a little bit more guidance, and you could have had a nice tight 2-hour movie and gotten the point across. Like, we used to do that. We used to do that back in the day. You'd have a 90-minute movie. Like, it is possible, and they made sense. Not everything has to be fracking Gone, Dances with Wolves and Gone with the Wind.
Right.
Right. To this day, like Titanic, one of the biggest movies of all time. They could have cut about an hour out of that and gotten us to the iceberg a lot sooner. Like that was always my thing. Going to when you used to get like the VHS tapes, and that was 2 VHS tapes. It's like, forget the first one, just put in the second one. We get to the iceberg and stuff starts happening. Good Lord, when are we going to start drowning some of these people? That came out wrong. But anyways, I give them the credit for that. But when we got into the second half, it felt like, again, I don't really care about these people who've been oppressed. Like Krylar, okay. I like the fact that Bill Murray managed to come across as menacing, but at the same time, I don't know that much about the character, so I'm kind of just buying it on his performance, which his creepy kind of performance was enough that I bought it. I like the fact that they had like the goop or whatever the drinks were that made them able to understand everyone. Like that was a nice little shorthand way of like just being like, okay, and now no subtitles, everybody understands each other. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Got it. I didn't like how we started getting into jokey territory. I think they a lot of stuff started getting very generic. And as exemplified by Cassie stopping and telling MODOK to not be a dick, and that it's never too late to not be a dick. I'm like, really? That's the best you could do. I will say this, like I saw someone post this online. They were like, I haven't, and I was on the screenwriting subreddit, and it was saying, I haven't written anything in a long time, and Ant-Man Quantumania inspired me to go home and start writing, because I'm like, if this got made, I can totally write something that could get made. And I kind of agree, because
interesting,
even the jokes were not that good. And I get what you're trying to do at the beginning with the voiceover and Paul Rudd kind of going around doing his thing, and you're trying to add that, you're trying to get people back into, oh yeah, we're back into Ant-Man world where stuff is kind of funny.
Yeah.
The end, I hated that. I absolutely hated the way the movie ended. I was like, that just took the piss out of all of the stakes that you had.
Yeah. No, I have to agree with you on that. I didn't like the ending either. I thought it was very abrupt and just nonsensical. It just, he takes a bite of cake and doesn't like it. I mean, what does it have to do with anything?
Yeah. And the other thing too is like, I'm really, okay, I get it. Phase 4 was a palate cleanser. Cleanser and setup. I get it. Okay. I'm really getting tired of like the foreplay into the multiverse. Like, you got to get us there eventually.
Yeah.
And some stuff has got to start happening, because we're still not entirely there.
Right.
We're still dipping our toe in every movie, and then it comes, and then it reels back. You got to do something. I don't know if it's just a matter of like, really going overboard on setup or what, but it's like, you got to start picking a shot and taking it, because you had Kang in this movie and then you end up killing him, but then, oh, well, we got the Council of Kangs. Like, okay, that's great, but when are we going to get this fracking thing moving?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we've been on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Now, that isn't to say like I didn't enjoy the flick. I did. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5.5 out of 10. I didn't go in expecting Citizen Kane. I didn't go in expecting Godfather Part 2. Even by the measure of like, I just went in for an entertaining movie. I came away going, ugh, if I hadn't had this show to do, I probably would have been a little more pissed off and thinking I could have just waited a month and streamed it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And saved my money, And that's a bummer. That's a real bummer for movies that, are supposed to be big and really enjoyed on a big screen, to walk away going, ugh, I could have waited.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have really hurt my feelings that much. So that was kind of lame. That, and unfortunately that's been a lot of movies from Phase 4, and now we get the first one of Phase 5 that is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by how they handled MODOK. Even before the whole thing with him and Cassie, he just seemed like a joke.
Yeah, it's total comic relief.
And I was kind of hoping it was going to be something a little different. I mean, it was a little also cheesy the way it looked too. I mean, just I know it was a difficult character to kind of probably bring to life because of what effects can do at this stage. But I don't know. I didn't quite get it, and it turned into just kind of this little bit of a jokey joke thing where,
well, yeah, because every character came in and just took the piss out of him completely.
Yeah, and that so that's where I was kind of like, well, there goes this menacing thing that I was kind of hoping they were going to introduce, and so I thought the MODOK thing was kind of weird. I liked Bill Murray. I thought he was good. I thought some of the backstory they were telling and kind of getting into, to your point, they talk a lot about the multiverse, but yeah, you don't see a lot. And that's what I think you're getting at is let's get let's put the foot on the pedal and let's get this thing rolling, because we've been doing this for like a few years now, and we've been waiting for it. And it's weird because they're not doing it the same way they did Thanos. Like Thanos, they did this nice slow burn, you see little bits of him, you see him pop into Guardians of the Galaxy, you get a sense this is going to be a real menacing character that they're going to have to deal with. And when the battle was happening, what kind of surprised me was it just had, it had the same kind of feel. Like, I don't want to say it had the same feel as Avengers Endgame, but it had the same feel in the sense that you had this really powerful villain, and no matter what he was doing, it was just the good guys were always finding a way around stuff, and I thought it was going to be more of like an Empire Strikes Back story where, the good guys are going to try, but now they're going to experience defeat, and they're going to be the harbingers of folks, here's what's coming. We got to prepare because this guy is the real deal and is going to take us. And he was still the real deal. I mean, it was just, he was just overrun by numbers basically. And so, yeah, so I just kind of came out of it. I really had my heart set on them doing something, not just to kill off Scott Lang, but as a way to help his daughter evolve her character forward, because I thought, when you have that sort of loss, it can get you motivated in a certain direction and have you, kind of dedicate your life to something, kind of giving these young Avenger types, some sort of foundation to kind of base their fight on, because right now it's like, what have they really lost? You know what I mean? Like, or what have they gone through? So those were some of my little nits with it. I thought it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a bad movie. It just didn't, I guess I had certain expectations in my head, and those expectations just weren't meant to be.
Nope. So, but at least we have a bottle of bourbon on the line here with these results.
Oh, yes. Let the bourbon flow through you.
And the man they call Tim has been awfully happy with this. So I'm sure that he has the results right now. So I'm thinking that he might, the fix is in, ladies and gentlemen.
No, this is me playing up, the event. I'm trying to, show some excitement here. I'm interested in the overall process for our listeners to hear how we guessed.
I feel like I'm in the main event championship match, and one of the bad guys' stooges was just announced as the special guest referee.
Jeez. Oh dear. Well, sir, are you ready?
I have a feeling that my souls are going to be seeing some ceiling tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Good God. Make you humble.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what? So Uncle Todd, as I've said many times, produces this show and does a phenomenal job weaving different sound clips in here and there. We really need to get a Dusty Rhodes Hard Times.
Times.
Just saying it. I mean, just get it in there. We can just drop it in every so often.
Plymouth Thun, and if you notice the way I wrestle, I have tribute to him every night when I go out there, and the crack of my butt showing.
Good gosh.
My polka dot tights, yes. American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Oh,
just a common man.
That's right. All right, are you ready, sir, to adjudicate?
Oh, sure. Why
this
not?
Version of the real and the jabroni. Which, by the way, in 2 weeks we're going to do another one of these for Mando.
That's right. We've got Mando. Oh, we got Mando coming in 2. Oh, so good. Actually,
yes.
Another thing. We got to talk some Star Trek Picard, because did you catch the first episode?
I have not. I'm going to watch it tonight after we're done recording.
I'm curious to see what you have to say. We'll have to discuss the first couple episodes next time.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
Seen, felt, smelt, and dealt.
Yep. All right. Here we go. Rumor number 1.
All right. You ready, sir? We will see.
You keep asking. You do this all the time. You're like, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I feel like I'm stuck in a perpetual DX promo loop.
I am trying to see if you are prepared. Fine. Next time I'll just start talking and you'll be like, whoa, slow down. Oh, I'm like, oh, okay. Now we're not ready. I see how it is.
I'll tell you what. From now on, just assume that I am ready.
Okay.
because I'm probably
Uncle
not
Todd
going to
doesn't
be.
understand what he's just done here. So okay, all right.
I
Mr.
very
I'm ready all
rarely
the
do, and you know what?
Johnny
Things have
on
worked
the
out pretty
spot.
well. You know.
Okay, all right. Number one.
I'm like Captain Jack Sparrow. Like,
here
do you
we
think
go.
anything is? Do you really think he works it out ahead of time? Probably not.
Number
Anyway,
one.
are you ready? Are you ready?
Number one, we will see multiple Kang variants. We both said the real, and we did see multiple Kang variants at the end.
We did.
So the real it is. So we each get a point. And that is how the scoring works, folks, by the way, is if we tie on a particular answer, we each get a point.
Yes, it's the old school NHL scoring.
Indeed. All right. Number two, we will see Tony Stark. That is, we both said Jabroni, and that was?
Jabroni.
Jabroni. Make you humble. All right. So we each got that correct. Number three, we will see Captain America. We both said Jabroni, and it was
It was quite Jabroni.
It was quite Jabroni. We saw no Captain America.
There was
Now, number four,
no
the one I
sighting
was-
of America's ass whatsoever.
Not whatsoever. Absolutely. Number four, this was the Uncle Todd special. I was trying to trip him up with this one. Mephisto will finally make his debut. And he did not. So we both said Jabroni. It's Jabroni. We both get a point.
We're never seeing Mephisto, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to happen.
Never going to happen. And when it does happen, it'll be one of these that we do where we leave the question out and we're just kicking ourselves like, why? Why didn't we have a Mephisto question? All right. Number five, we will see one or more members of the Fantastic Four. And this is where we split. So Uncle Todd went the real, I went the Jabroni, and it was?
It's Jabroni.
It is Jabroni. No contesting it. All right. So I am now up by one.
Yep. Soon to be up by another.
Well, number six. Uncle Todd said it cannot happen. He is too big of a character to be in this movie. And he wasn't technically in the actual film.
Well, so you're conceding that I was right.
No, I'm not
okay. Well,
conceding
therefore,
you're right.
we're now all even up.
No, we're not. Loki will make an appearance, and he, in fact, did make an appearance.
He did. He done did.
And Uncle Todd said Jabroni. I said the real. So we are now up by two.
Where's my weed seltzer? Where did that get to? This could be a long ass night. Hang on.
We did say Pappy Van Winkle was on the table, yes or no?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you get a
Colonel Taylor.
You get a bottle with a label with crayon on it, and then Pappy Van Winkle misspelled.
You gonna Patrick make that?
Yes.
Oh,
Arts and Crafts and
that's
Free
right.
Range Idiocy HQ.
Now make sure you use the papier-mâché.
Nice, nicely played, sir.
Well done. Number seven.
Meanwhile, someone is in France right now. Like, that is not how you pronounce it. Some Americans.
English kniggets. All right. Let's see. Number seven. Sylvie will make an appearance. We both said Jabroni, and Sylvie did not. So
nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen.
Number eight, and this will wrap up our in and out section with this one. A member of the X-Men will make an appearance. Uncle Todd said yes.
I was all in on trying to get some of these new characters in here, and
indeed,
it stings a little.
The man they called Tim said Jabroni. Now the man they called Tim is up 3 on Uncle Todd.
Yep.
Coming out of this section. So now we enter into what's up with that. So our theories on the plot of the movie. And number 9. Are you ready? Just checking. Number 9.
You ready? I got 2 words for you. How about that?
Good Lord, with Montez Ford, by the way, doing the DX chop every which he seemed like a video game character that was just, or I think you said it best. He was on some sort of energy drink. And
he was like a video game character when one of the buttons gets stuck down.
Yes. That's perfect.
It was a glitch in the system.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, dang, dude, slow it down. It's just
it's kind of, and the funny thing is, sitting in the pod, he's just staring off into space. As soon as he got into the match,
yeah,
like the Energizer Bunny, Like he could have powered a small city.
Someone slipped him a monster or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe that's what he was doing while he was in there. He was having 2 or 3 of the Rock's energy drinks there.
Ah, that could be. Could be. All right, number 9. Cassie built the Quantum Realm device with Hank Pym. We both said Jabroni.
And we were wrong.
I thought we were right.
No, she built it with him.
Oh, she did build it. I thought he just was aware she was building something, but he wasn't helping her.
No, he helped her.
Oh, because I thought she built it when they were all in the blip.
Nope.
All right. Well, doesn't matter. We both got it wrong. So, all right. Both got it wrong. I think if we go back and watch again, I think Uncle Todd wants to watch this movie again.
No, I don't actually.
And I think he wants to, specifically that scene. I think.
I want to go back and watch this one like I want to watch Dark World again.
Ah, yes. All right, number 10. MODOK is an ally of Kang. We both said the real, and MODOK was
more of a lackey, but sure, that counts as an ally.
Yes, he does. Number 11. MODOK is the reason Kang is stuck in the quantum realm. We both said Jabroni, and the answer is
Jabroni. Yeah.
Jabroni.
Yeah, sure.
Got to give a little credit to Jimmy Dice on that one.
Yeah, right. There ought to be a little trademark next to that.
Yeah, no kidding. Number 12. Krylar, who is Bill Murray, will betray the protagonist. We both said the real, and we were rewarded for our lack of faith in him.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, that was, could see that one coming a while off.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't compare him to Lando Calrissian, but there was definitely that kind of feel like, okay, she knew him. He
damn near had a cape. Like
yes,
that robe almost was a cape.
Yes, he did. And he's been in the vicinity of this conqueror for this amount of time. I was like, yeah, he's probably been subverted at this point, but or submitted. But number 13. Kang is a cosmic entity. See cosmic. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to read that part. I thought it was like when I put Bill Murray in parentheses. I'm like, oh, whoops, that's more for us.
It's all like right. Ron Burgundy. I'm Ron Burgundy.
So
I'm going to start adding stuff in parentheses to our real
See if I read it. All right. Kang is a cosmic entity. This rumor definitely fell into the category of really overthought sort of thing.
Yes.
It was an interesting idea to try to link it to that, but no, Kang is Kang, and he just has a lot of variants who are, just goofy. So this was Jabroni. We both said Jabroni, both get a point. So if anyone's curious at this stage, or at number 14, I am up by 3. Just want to make that clear. All right.
You son of a mother.
Number 14, we learn Janet and Krylar have a past.
In more ways than one.
And I got to say, that was a good bit of dialogue right there when she was like, with I forget the daughter's name, Evangeline Lilly's character. But when they're going back and forth, she's like, you didn't. She's like, I had needs. And she's like, oh, gosh. And then he's like, I had needs. And then it was just kind of like that sweet little thing where he's like, but she wasn't you, baby.
Yeah. Like, oh God, that is like, that is every child's nightmare too, to be in the middle of that conversation.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to know.
Yes. Don't tell me, please.
I don't need it like shown, like just laid bare for me. Like, gosh. And then see the person that you're talking about.
No.
Anyways.
Didn't need that. All right. So each got a point for that. Number 15, Cassie will develop into a hero / Avenger by the end. Now, you said Jabroni, I said the real, and technically I said hero. I do believe she qualifies as a hero given her activities during this movie.
I would agree. We don't have a hero name, and there was no like assembling. But she totally. And I mean, you could have. I mean, I don't know how much further. Well, no,
she had a suit. She turned MODOK against Kang. So
no, you were right. As much as it pains me to go down another point here,
thank you, sir.
You were correct.
Thank you, sir. Up by 4 now. Up by 4. All right, number 16, and now here's where he makes Don't call it a comeback. Number 16, the finale of Loki Season 1 will coincide with the events in the quantum realm. Uncle Todd said Jabroni. I said the real, and the answer is, sir?
I mean, I'm kind of thinking Jabroni.
Well, yeah, I was going to agree with you.
Okay.
I thought you were just going to say Jabroni.
Yeah, no,
I thought you were like all like wound up, ready to, ready to lay off.
I've lost all confidence in myself at this point. I'm getting spanked like a child who's been stuck getting cookies out of the cookie jar. I don't know which way is up anymore.
Now, what was interesting was, at least in the beginning of the movie, when you saw that clearly Kang was cast into the quantum realm, it did kind of give you pause to think, okay, are they going to tie this at some point? Because He Who Remains was able to get, the sacred timeline, kind of solidified. And you wonder if that was how he did it, by casting out, one of, the more powerful versions of himself.
Mm-hmm.
That did not turn out to be the case. In fact, apparently Kang cast Kang into or the Council of Kangs, the Three Stooges, if you will.
Yeah.
Cast him out. So not to be. So Uncle Todd gets a point. So now man they called him is only up by 3.
Actually, doesn't that go back to Vince McMahon of I didn't screw Brett. Brett screwed Brett.
That's right. That's
just
right.
To go back, take another dig at people of Montreal.
There you go. Nicely done. Number 17. Kang needs Pym particles to free himself from the quantum realm. Well, your local wise men here decided to say Jabroni on this one, and I am calling this as the real.
Oh, yeah. Looking back now, I don't know what we were thinking, because, of course, that's like the one thing unique to these characters that Kang would want for them to be there. And, we screwed that one up.
Yes. Yeah, Janet Van Dyne blew up, or I don't want to say not shrunk, the opposite of shrunk, grew his time core, or whatever that was called, the multiversal core he had, and they had to shrink it. So, all right, number 18, Kang's time chair will come into play.
Yeah,
that's the real.
Yep.
I would say this is the real, even though the phrase time chair was not used. It was pretty clear he had a chair.
Yeah.
And there was a multiversal core that he plugged into said chair. So I think.
And it travels, and he could control time. So,
he
yes.
could control time. So
it is a time chair by definition.
Infer this. And so we each get a point. All right. Number 19. Ant-Man and Kang's. God, there I go again. I'm tripping myself up. When we get to the segment of the show about what we've learned this week, one of them is going to be the man they called him cannot just, cannot be putting slashes.
Well, I mean,
parentheses.
It's your third language. I mean, you were originally, from the Great White North of Inuit descent, and then you learned how to speak Quebecois, and now you're on English, and it's tough, sir. I give you a lot of credit for being as fluent as you are.
Thank you.
By the way, can you say a few things in Quebecois for everyone?
Oui.
Close enough, sure.
Okay. Number 19, Ant-Man and Kang's.
We've now pissed off the entire province of Quebec.
Well,
you're welcome.
I haven't picked on them.
Well, you're the one who just, was acting like you could speak the language.
I just said oui.
Okay.
Which is yes, I believe. Ant-Man and Kang's deal will center on recovering the 5 years that Ant-Man lost.
Oh, yeah.
And we both said the real, and it was the Jabroni.
Well, no, wasn't that part of it?
No. When he says, I can give you back the gift of time, that was to Janet. What he said to Scott was, I won't kill your daughter, because he was going to basically kill her.
Yeah.
He was in the prison.
Well, I thought that was one of the things before he had to go to that point.
No.
That he said that. I don't know. Again, like
well,
this movie obviously did not stick with me in all its finer points.
Yeah, no. So he may have mentioned some, but the whole thing about him being like gone for 5 years was not part of that conversation at all. Like it was right. Just he tried the same tactic he used on Janet. Scott wasn't having it, so he started to torture his daughter, and the deal was, I'll give you your daughter back if you give me my core.
Yep.
And that's
true.
what he needed. So So we both got this one wrong, but par for the course. Still up by 3. All right. Number 20, Kang will send Ant-Man to a newly created timeline. We both fell for this and said the real.
Yep.
And that was not even like, that is an aspect we didn't really see from him. And I don't know if it was just a quote in the trailer that, kind of lent itself to this theory being a theory, but it sounded like someone had said something like he can, create timelines or, realities or something like that. And so it really kind of caused, I think, the fan base to go a little kooky with, with this kind of a theory. So,
well, that's what fan bases do.
Yeah, I know. Well, that ends our segment. What's up with that? Which is plot focus. So the score as of right now, Man They Called Him is up by 3. All right. Are you ready, sir?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna.
Okay.
I think we are just. I think we just call it a draw right now. You know what? You've convinced me. There's no winners and no losers. Let's just call it even. All right.
Absolutely not. All right. Number 21. This is the hill the Man They Called Him was going to die on. And,
well, you and everybody else. You had everybody dying in this movie.
Ant-Man sacrifices himself and dies battling Kang. He almost did. He was getting his tail kicked. He was looking in rough shape, but he survived. So, Man They Called Him said real. Uncle Todd said jabroni. So now Man They Called Him is only up by 2.
Yeah.
So not to happen. Number 22, Hank Pym dies. We both said the real, and we were wrong.
Yep.
Hank lives to fight another day.
He does.
And I have to admit, it is kind of funny, and I don't know if this was a tongue-in-cheek, jokey joke that they did, but being the fact that he just kind of walked in with his army of ants, who is really the Ant-Man?
Exactly.
I thought of that when he's just he literally just walks in and his whole army of ants just takes over everything, and I'm like, he doesn't have a suit, but he is kind of the man who controls the ants. So
yep. Yeah. No, he is. He was much more of the Ant-Man in this movie than Scott Lang was, for sure.
Yeah. So no, Hank lives. So jabroni on that. We get no points. Janet Van Dyne dies.
Nope.
We both said jabroni. It was jabroni, so we each get a point. Cassie dies.
Nope.
We both said jabroni, so both get a point. MODOK is destroyed.
Yeah.
So I said the real, you said the jabroni. I was thinking yes, because he kind of got beat up pretty bad, and he died. So I count that as destroy.
I don't know. I mean, he wasn't reduced down to an atomic level, so I think this really does count in my favor.
You really gonna argue that one, Council?
I don't know. Can I get the wise men in on this one?
Wise man.
Can I get Paul Heyman to come in and dazzle us with a 20-minute promo that might make you forget this ever happened?
That is the one human being who probably could flip this argument. So
I think so. That's why I need him right now, but unfortunately he's not taking my call. So truly, I guess you're going to win this one.
All right, back up by 4. Man, they called him.
Ugh.
Or no, wait a minute. Am I up by 3 now?
Yeah, there's only 3. You don't need to widen the margin of victory. I don't think I'm making a comeback in this one.
All right. Number 26. Cassie will become Stature. So while Cassie did show some moxie and did perform at the hero/Avenger level, she did not declaratively become any sort of named hero. So that is jabroni. So we each get a point for that. We were correct on that one. Number 27, we will see a flashback to Kang battling and defeating the Avengers.
Nope. It wasn't that type of movie.
Nope. I said jabroni. Uncle Todd said the real.
I did. That was total wishful thinking.
It was.
It would really cool.
Was. You fell victim, sir, to the promise of what could have been and was not. So I go up by 4 once again. And now with only 2 remaining, I'm going to start doing my victory lap. But
Right now, Tim is in his basement. He's got his shirt off, twirling it around like a towel and doing the icky shuffle. That's what he's doing right now.
Damn it! I just took a sip of LaCroix. I almost spewed it out all over my computer.
Don't do that because you got to return that thing.
Oh yeah, it's actually nice that Apple does that. You can return the equipment back and get a little bit back. So I like that.
Except they'd be wondering like, why is this sticky?
Oh, come on now.
You know what? We're only going to give you like $10 for this.
Oh gosh,
we've got to have this dipped in kerosene and lit on fire.
Oh my
It's a biohazard thing right now. No, it's LaCroix. Sure it is, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it is.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's see. Number 28. The movie ends with Kang starting the multiversal war and taking over different universes. And we both said the real, and I believe this is Jabroni. Even though
because we really start nothing.
No.
Jeez.
No. Hey, they were organizing to start something.
You know, I don't want to deal with I'm a fixin' to think about doing something. Like, get with the doing.
Get with the doings. All right. And finally, number 29. So we both got that one wrong. No points there. Number 29, a post-credit scene will involve an original Avenger being alerted to Kang's presence. We both said the real. Specifically, we both said Mr. Bruce Banner would be part of that. That was not to be. Excuse me. So we have 0 points. Final tally.
Yep.
At the end of it all. Man, they called Tim 25 points. Uncle Todd, 17.
Which means that I'll be sending the man they call Tim a couple nips of Fireball.
Come on now.
Maine's finest.
I will, Maine's finest. Oh,
crap actually does come from Maine. I'm like, oh, seriously?
Oh boy.
Jeez.
Well, I will have to think on and let Uncle Todd know what my selection will be, but I will humbly accept this honor of once again being Real or Jabroni champion of this particular movie.
It hurts.
But don't worry, in 2 weeks you can make your comeback and maybe earn a little something back with the Mando.
It really hurts. And the thing that really hurts is even if I do, then I have to wait like the 12 weeks for the show to run, and
Not
then I've got to wait
anymore.
like another 4 months after that before Tim finally gets around to sending something out to the mail because like I don't know how to send it.
Not anymore. I have my channel defined now. I have a way of doing it, and I know where to go, and they have good selection, and so yes,
he knows where to go. There's this one alley. It's down the street from my meat dealer.
Well, see what it is
he's got this old rusty Cadillac up on blocks.
He knows the meat dealer, and he's cutting me a little bit of a deal. So,
of course. Well, congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Well deserved, I guess. And,
Thank you.
It's just humiliating. It burns. Burns, quite honestly.
It hurts. It really hurts.
I'm not going to sleep tonight, so I hope you're happy.
I am.
Of course you are.
Feels good.
Of course you are. He's probably going to go celebrate with a steak after this.
I think I will. I said I wasn't going to have anything to eat this late, but I might have to, fire up a little bit of sausage or.
Wife's going to be wondering, what are you doing down in the kitchen? I'm grilling up some flank steak. It's 11:30 at night. I know. I'm celebrating. Oh, God.
I need that protein. I had my boxing cardio tonight. I got to get some more protein in the system.
You know how they say that everybody has like a certain amount of red meat, undigested red meat in their intestine, their colon. One of these days, when you after your 120th birthday and you finally shuffle off this mortal coil, and they're gonna have you cremated. It's gonna be like a brisket.
The man was meat.
Exactly. What's that smell? I'm smelling seasoning.
Oh, gosh.
It's been marinating all these years.
Absolutely.
It's like bourbon infused, too. That smells good.
Yeah. Let it not be said. I smell good.
There's a green flame shooting out the chimney. Is there a new pope? It's the meats pope.
Oh God!
I don't know where we're heading with this, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, well, it was fun. Another Real and Jabroni in the books. Uncle Todd's gonna take it to some other place. What's next?
And another thing.
So what do you got for another thing, sir?
Are you ready?
I swear to God, if I could punch it through the screen, I wouldn't let you know how just how ready I am. Would you say something?
Gosh. All right. Well, my and another thing in the kind of phase I'm in of rehashing things that I've talked about before. Mainly meaning I haven't prepared. WWE Biography and Rivals on A&E. While I was watching the Elimination Chamber last night, there were some commercials for it. Didn't actually realize it was coming back, and thankfully, the old Sling DVR still had the recording rule from last year to say, "Hey, record this thing," and so it did. So, started watching the NWO biography, which has been very entertaining and interesting to watch, and getting some more info and background knowledge from Eric Bischoff, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and the Hulkster brother. Which I was telling Uncle Todd in the pre-production meeting, probably one of the funniest things was how Nash and Hall had to basically dial Hogan back after they started this whole thing because he wanted to go all, let me tell you something. And they're just like, yeah, we're not doing that as part of this gimmick.
It's a different world now. Mr. Hogan.
Part of the reason, sir, you are a bad guy now. So. Yeah.
Because that stuff ain't playing anymore. No. Because everyone knows what you mean by vitamins.
Yes. So, so do check it out. A&E does a great job with these biographies. And then the Rivals series, I think the first one is going to be Hogan and Andre, which I'm excited to see. That was a big match from my childhood. And I remember we had a friend who would get the old closed circuit pay-per-view type things at home. And we watched that match and it was like it just burned in my brain. It was just such a once in a lifetime kind of match between between Hogan, who was just red hot at the time, and Andre the Giant, who is just as people probably know and have heard through Princess Bride and through other things, just people who have been around this man. I mean, he was just a very unique human being, not just because of his size, but because of who the person he was and stuff. And so it was just a match that was just amazing to watch and be a part of, and be able to see. And so I'm excited to see it. They'll have other rivalries as well, but do check it out. New seasons on A&E of WWE Biography and Rivals.
Very nice, sir. Very nice.
How
I'll
about you,
try and catch those. I'm going to do a repeat as well because I actually delayed our recording by about 15 minutes because I was finishing up a viewing of Ghostbusters Afterlife with the family. Mm-hmm. And I know that we did an entire episode on this, so I will not belabor it too much. However, I will just reiterate, just a really well done movie and a really well done sequel, and done with a lot of loving care. Mm-hmm. And my daughter, said it best. She's like, it's so rare that a movie can be anywhere as good as a sequel or be as good as the original. And this one is just really good and a lot of heart in it. I like how it just, you don't get the real guys until the original guys until the very end. And yeah, they kind of save the day, but not entirely.
Yeah.
And I just, it was just the end of that movie gets me every time. I mean, there's not a dry eye in the house. Even my wife, who was half watching, gets to the end and all of a sudden she's over there. Like, I didn't even realize you were even watching the movie. Like, all of a sudden Harold Ramis's ghost shows up and she's like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And I'm
gosh, that's funny.
But it's great. It just draws you in. Like it takes you to this emotional place.
Yeah.
And then of course the post-credit scenes are great. And, just seeing Winston Zeddemore doing so well for himself and also kind of letting you know that, hey, there's some more to come.
Yes.
But just a great flick.
It was.
So yeah, highly recommend that. Recommend checking that out. I'm not sure where it's streaming. I ended up buying it off of like the iTunes movie store or whatever at some point. So I have no idea what streaming service you can find it on. I'll put a link to it in the show notes if I find it. If not, I mean, DVDs are still a thing, and everyone has Google right now. So I'm pretty sure you can figure this one out, folks. It's not some little foreign, little French film that's, only played in one theater, 5 years ago.
Do what Uncle Todd does. Bootleg it.
I didn't bootleg it. I bought this sucker.
All right.
I'm more than willing to support, the filmmaking of Jason Reitman and the furtherance of the Ghostbusters franchise. I had no problem with that. However, cable, yeah. Hey, you know what?
And we'll compromise on certain things.
I've been hosed over by the cable company for so many years of my life. I don't feel that bad about it. And, I'm just saying. And it's not even like I even watch that much. I really don't. Like, I feel dumb sometimes because I'm like, oh, yeah, I got this. I'm so used to not having cable. I haven't had cable for I don't know how long. Anyways, and now that I've, again, confessed to, cable jacking or whatever, I guess we ought to wrap this thing up. So thank you all, folks, for listening. We do so appreciate it. It's time for us to round up and head on out of here. Thank you to all the members of the Free Range Idiocy congregation who have tuned in. If you have not yet joined the congregation, well, it's real simple to do. All you got to do is subscribe and listen. And if you have time, say nice things about us on the interwebs, because quite honestly, self-esteem is rough these days. It's always nice to get a little pep talk, a few kind words.
Yeah.
But you can do that by going to freerangeidiocy.com and I say that right? freerangeidiocy.com. I did.
You did.
I'm starting to question myself. It's these seltzers. All the bubbles are going to my noggin. Go to freerangeidiocy.com.
Just everything is questionable.
I'm just trying to think of it. I owe another friggin' bottle of bourbon. I was winning these things when we first started, and now I've just completely pooped the bed on these.
The tables have turned, Mr. Bond.
And I hate it. So you can go to freerangeidiocy.com. You can find all of our episodes there. You can also subscribe right to the Podbean app. You can find us on podcast purveyors of all kinds. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, whatever the Amazon Alexa thing is. We're also on Google Podcasts, a whole bunch of others. Search for Free Range Idiocy. You'll find us. You can also find us on the social medias. We love us some social medias because we love us some us. So you can find us on the Facebook. We are on the Instagram. We are on the YouTubes. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. And one other thing that you can do, you can reach us via the electronic mail. I know this is totally new technology. Do it. It's like a text, except it's longer.
Sure.
Yeah. So what you do is you send an electronic mail to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com.
What are you doing?
I have no idea.
Into like a lesson on how email works here.
First of all, you turn on your computer.
Now, once you see it count up all the RAM you have, then the Windows logo appears. It says Windows 95.
Tim and I are working off of like Tandy computers from like... One of these days, I'm hoping to upgrade to an Asus or maybe an Acer. Still got my cow gateway box holding up my plants. Anyways, I got a great story.
It's a good paperweight.
I got a great story about Gateway at some point I'll throw out there.
Oh, boy.
But you send an electronic mail to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com with any suggestions, thoughts, concerns. If you have an idea for a show, go ahead and send all those to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com. He'll get back to you forthwith, if not sooner. And now, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry, we're getting very close to the end of the show, but we've now hit the end of my part of the show. So I'm going to ask the man they call Tim the second most important question ever uttered by human mouth holes. The first, of course, being what is hip. The second being, what the hell did we learn this episode?
Oh, we have learned some things, my friend. We have learned
including
some things.
The man they call Tim speaks 3 different languages.
That's right. We have learned...
Wookiee is one of them.
Well, kind of. All right. We have learned Elimination Chamber was a surprisingly good event, and good people of Montreal have made that event as good as it felt, sounded, and smelt and dealt.
Couldn't have been gooder.
Could have been gooder. Could have had Sami win, but that's all right. Do check it out on the Peacock, though. It was very good. We have also learned Uncle Todd is running a criminal enterprise, apparently. He is bootlegging cable.
I am not bootlegging. I am password sharing. There's a difference.
You want to find him? He is 555.
I wasn't shimmying up the telephone pole in the dark of the night with my tool bag.
No, that was Patrick. You sent him off to do the dirty work.
Well, that's how we get our internet at the office. That's a totally different thing. We got the broadband speed boost. I'm pretty sure he's got like 2 wires jammed into one socket, so we're running like double speed. It's great.
Don't move. Hold everything in place.
Although he had some serious splinters when he was crawling back down.
Oh, I bet he did.
He was asking me, he's like, "Can you reach this one?" I'm like, we're not that good of friends. Go talk to the guy over at the McDonald's next door. Have him work in there with one of them coffee spoons. Gosh. Dig it right out of the glute.
Oh my gosh. What do you do? Like, think of these all week and then just like nail them with them?
Not really.
Oh gosh.
It's performance art. I just kind of think of these things and I lack any kind of filters and it just comes out.
Oh my gosh. That's hysterical.
Oh, you think it's hysterical? Patrick was limping for about 2 weeks.
I bet he was.
Actually, I'm pretty sure he still has one that nobody will go after.
Oh, God.
He's hoping that his body will break it down and reabsorb it.
All right. Good Lord.
I told him he's fine as long as he doesn't plan on having kids.
Well, apparently we've also learned that, Patrick has a splinter issue he's dealing with.
Well, it might affect fertility, but, I mean, it might not. Who knows? Okay. I mean, the human body is a miraculous thing.
It is. We've also learned that we are middling, if maybe a little bit above middling for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Not a bad outing, but we have learned Uncle Todd wants his multiversal machine to get rolling here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We're just idling.
Yes.
Actually, we're not even idling. I feel like we barely the car is just started up.
Absolutely. And finally, we have learned that the man they call Tim, Dominic.
Jeez.
Dominic.
Warn me before you do that next time. Freaking eardrums just popped.
Well, you want to make your jokes to get me laughing? I'm going to do some ear splitting popping.
You're going to give me permanent hearing damage? Wow, what a freaking exchange that is.
Of course. But champion.
Wow, you made me laugh, therefore I am going to deafen you. Wow.
La champion of Real and Jabroni. We will have another one in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Jericho.
Where he will once again be La Champion. On that note, as we like to close things out, be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another. And, well, for no other reason than if you hit that switch, it actually turns on the cable for Uncle Todd. So would you please hit the lights on the way out?
It's like I took the wrong week to quit drinking.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you.
Quiet, just in time. Pull up a chair.
Been hitting awful hard, haven't you?
Nonsense. I've not yet begun to defile myself.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
So the thing is, Patrick wanted me to get that last splinter. All right?
Still on the splinter. Jeez.
And the problem is, like, I wouldn't. I told him I'm not going to look at it. We're just not that close, you know.
Oh God!
And the problem was, so he had a pair of needle nose pliers, and he's describing to me, you know, the situation. And I said,
How
the
is
only
he
way
still an intern.
Don't know. He's just a glutton for punishment. So the only way I said I would do it is if I had a blindfold. Then he'd have to guide me in there.
Oh my gosh.
And it was all, I mean, I think we were actually doing pretty well.
Oh God.
But you know how you do the whole, okay, to the right, and you're not sure if it's their right or your right?
Oh boy.
Well, we never clarified that, and I made a guess, and well, I guessed wrong.
Oh dear.
And,
oh dear. Oh boy.
Patrick would have run out of the office in a state of nature, except apparently I had a good clamp on him at the time.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was a rough day at the office.
Yeah, it sounds like not pleasant.
No.
For anyone involved.
Although he was able to bring the swelling down by using one of those frozen steaks.
Oh,
that it was one of the ones I was shipping out to you. So he was able to ice down with that. And luckily it didn't melt all that much. So I just put it in the box and it's shipped out to you. That was one of the ones you had a month ago.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Was it good?
Now get the hell out of here!